Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Kopitiam Council, the second one for this week, and the second one after returning from our eclectic venture towards to with our collaboration with Sabah and having live episodes. We're back to just the regular bedroom and living room setup here over Riverside online. Me in Sabah, Hafiz in KL. But well, we talked about something international. And well, Hafiz, you are in KL. Usually that's considered the heartland of all this political intrigue, all the big deals that are happening there, all the newest and hottest political developments that are happening there. Is there anything you want to share with what's going on?
Well, I don't think you need to be in KL to know about this one, Adi, because the heat seems to be radiating throughout the country because there's a lock horn between Rafizi and Izzah. Now, why are we talking about this? Because of course PKR is the ruling government party now. Even previously they are not in the government, but now as the government party, one of the pillars in the government party, we need to talk about this election because I heard from Rafizi that he said this not supposed to happen. Because that's what happened to Anwar Ibrahim and the rest of the top posts in the PKR election. I think few weeks ago. But this election between Rafizi and Izzah is not intended to happen, and I think a lot at plays here. But before that, let's see what we have to say, Adi.
Okay, well, for those that aren't kept up, well, the Parti KeAdilan Rakyat is having its party elections now. And this is quite important because now that PKR is in the ruling government, its president is also the Prime Minister of Malaysia. It puts them at a very higher vantage point of political influence than what it enjoyed over the past few years. And this election sets the tone over what kind of leadership would we see from the party moving forward. Because we know that our Prime Minister, that's Anwar Ibrahim, is not getting any younger. He needs to pass on the torch to somebody else very soon, not as Prime Minister, but as party president of PKR itself, which is a national party, a party that's supposed to transcend boundaries of race and religion, very multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious parties. That's what PKR's mandate was supposed to be, which is a huge undertaking. And it was seen as the reform party, the party that would lead the reforms that we wish to see to ensure that Malaysia does thrive. So why this is also important is because it sets the tone for PKR for the next few years, right? It sets the tone over what direction PKR is going to take over the next few years, what leadership position. Because now we see a faction split within PKR. Mostly, we were focusing on the camps of Dr. Sri Rafizi Ramli, who is the economic minister, and Nurul Izzah, who is the daughter of party president and prime minister Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Both very charged individuals, both very high caliber in their own right. Both also, Rafizi is currently in the government. Nurul Izzah was former politician, now moving around here and there. She's also making moves here in Sabah. She was just here just about last week to rally PKR Sabah to support her during the party elections. It's almost like we're gearing up for another general election here with how things are going, how many things are being mobilized. And we have to know that PKR is a massive party when it comes to membership. There are members all across Malaysia, very strong urban presence. That is, of course, the primary demographic. So there's a lot of mobilization going on, a lot of resources being spent around for this particular party election. It's almost like we're experiencing some kind of by-election, state election, whatever, in and of itself. So it's interesting to see that party elections play just as much of a crucial role as when we see, let's say, local elections or state elections, because it's the same as when we look at the UMNO General Assemblies, right? Everyone around Malaysia holds their breath to see what happens at the General Assembly. And then I believe now it is the same with the PKR elections. So that's just a bit of context for you. Hafiz, you want to add anything, or do you want to move towards whatever horse you have in this race?
Okay. Well, basically, like I want to start off with mostly whatever that Rafizi have said over the last week, because this, like I mentioned, it's not supposed to happen. Number one. Second, it was done so because they do not want to disrupt the stability of this unity government, which is already seen very, very weak It was just like, I think more than 12 months ago, we were talking about could Anwar still be a prime minister? And then it was, turns out that Anwar weathered the storm quite nicely. And now we are here just 12 months after, we're still talking about whether now internally about PKR. I understand the decisions by the PKR top leader to not contest the top spot, like the youth wing, chief youth, and then of course Anwar Ibrahim, and then some of the top leaders like the vice presidents as well, and of course this one, deputy president post. And I think this is in accordance with whatever practices that we see from UK or US or any other first world country, where they would actually do a party election 6 months after the election. So that's the order that you should be in, not in the middle midterm. Can you imagine, like, Keir Starmer have to do this election of Conservative Party in the middle of his term, or Trump during his midterm election, he has to handle about Republican as well. So that is a different structure altogether. So I think the agreement, it was reached verbally to do that, to follow that kind of US or UK kind of style of doing so. But out of nowhere, we had reading from social media posts by Menteri Besar of Selangor and a few other representatives from Perak and Malacca saying support openly, naming their support for Nurul Izzah. So it comes to a lot of people's attention, like, why so sudden and why openly? So the speed and the way that they want to reach it to telling all the people that they support Izzah even before her nomination as the candidate running for it, it's still a big question mark, because what I can see here is Rafizi was not anticipating this, only because of the Nurul Izzah was keeping it silent. But we only know about this because of the publicly announced support from, namely, MB of Selangor. So, can you imagine if you're Rafizi here? It was already, there's a consensus about this. Okay, no one contesting this or whatever, go on with your ministerial post or job, whatever. Don't worry about party election. Now, he had to take almost a week of holiday to settle party issues and got even more into a bigger hole. Even PAS was saying, like, oh, is this resigning from ministerial post or is it resigning from politics altogether? So these are kind of perceptions created by the public, mainly propagated by the opposition. But also, when we talk about perception, yes, Adi, here, Nurul Izzah is the daughter of Anwar Ibrahim. No amount of justification in terms of credibility, because we know, I mean, Nurul Izzah is a very capable individual. She has merits that goes beyond whatever normal people could imagine. She is also experienced as a politician. She was a few-term parliamentarian. She holds certain ministerial, not ministerial, but equivalent of the opposition side when PKR was in the opposition. So she has that all experience. But in terms of perception, you cannot justify with all these logics, because the publics are free to make up their own mind, regardless she win this election coming this weekend or whatever. She is still tied to that idea that she is the daughter of the president. So I think anybody that wants to downplay this is not going to find a good outcome to this. And we should just avoid from talking about this and just not mentioning about this at all, because they could say, like, oh, she win because she is the daughter's president. Oh, she lost. Oh, because, yeah. Why would we want to vote someone because of she is only the daughter of the president? So it could go both ways. So there's no winning in this kind of argument, and we should just focus on who they are as an individual. And yeah, rightly what you pointed out. Also, these two are not just normal Joe and Joanne, I guess, just people who actually is in the party for so long, sacrificed so long, so many of them, and they rightly to be where they are right now. Just another important point that I want to highlight is, Adi, this is a party that wants to show its strength or prowess in terms of how they can deal with the coalition as well. So I think this is PKR taking charge of the national narrative, because it's working. Everyone's talking about it, even though it's not in an election, but it feels like a general election, and I think the biggest win also from here is PKR and the popularity of them, because now people getting know more about Rafizi and Nurul Izzah. Whoever wins, I think it will be the best for PKR. I don't see anyone with just sulking away and not doing anything good for the party. I think both of them will still go forward as whatever the position that they deserve.
Well, I might have to be a bit more pessimistic here on that outlook, because
Yes,
we
please.
see that well, when it comes to irregularities in this kind of situation here, with factionalism happening at a party, at a massive party, and well, we don't know exactly the dynamics of how charged these factional rivalries are, because we've seen a few narratives saying that well, there are no factions, there's more like we just don't want complacent leaders, there's dissatisfaction with the leadership in the party, or also you have um, somehow third factions emerging. So there's a competing narrative here that's going on PKR, some saying that, like I said, some saying that no, it's just a reshuffling of priorities here, while saying that no, there is a war happening for the soul, heart, and soul of the party of PKR here, and Rafizi Ramli is on the chopping block somewhere with his deputy presidency being challenged here. These kinds of narratives are going around. So I'm going to have to, we have to entertain some of them here. And well, entertain is that, well, with your vying, the position that is definitely going to be highly sought after, because we know that the PKR president is still going to be the prime minister, is the deputy president for PKR, which is incumbent right now, Rafizi Ramli. In his situation right now, a lot of the people that sided with him during the IU Malaysia campaign back in 2022 have all lost their divisional seats. And some of these division leaders are deputy ministers, federal ministers, some are even state ministers here in Sabah. So to have party members at such a high rank not being able to garner support from the party itself, from the party membership, showcases that there no longer seniority here being challenged, because, and maybe that could be a good thing, because if seniority, we see a lot of political parties where you have to be a particular senior position within the party, only then you would have a shot at becoming a chalon, or a shot at becoming a minister, or some kind of high ranking position here. So that seems to be a lot of what I've seen when it comes to the narrative surrounding a lot of the dissatisfaction with, let's say, Rafizi's camp, is that this idea that, or a lot of the old guard has, in power, has become arrogant or complacent, or has lost touch with the grassroots. But we can always argue that, using we should listen to the grassroots kind of rhetoric, is more just a dog whistle to show that, oh, look, these people are out of touch with you, so you cannot vote for them, you should not want them in your party, whatever. So this is quite alarming to see that there's a shift here happening in PKR. And will Nurul Izzah be able to manage that shift if she somehow wins the party election, right? I don't know when, like, it could be out, it could be done or settled by the time we upload this episode here. But it also showcases that when Rafizi said that he was willing to resign as a minister if he does not win, it showcases that he feels like he's lost a mandate of leadership within the party here. So a lot of even in party elections, even in a more progressive party like PKR, holding a position is akin to holding face, right? And losing that position is basically losing face and showing that you lost a somewhat of formal legitimacy, right? So it's also trying to manage saving face to make sure that you can maintain your position in a way. But it's not necessarily maybe the best call for Rafizi, but it's the optics that really do matter. Like you mentioned, how no matter what credentials or qualifications that Nurul Izzah proves that she has, there will always be that conversation, that narrative going around saying that, oh, well, she's the prime minister's daughter, she's the president's daughter. So it's easy for her to go around. Well, I mean, it's easy for her anyway, because she's not a minister, she's not an elected representative. So she has all the time in the world to actually go and campaign her case, which is wherever Rafizi is not able to do so because of his responsibilities as a minister of economics minister, which is a huge undertaking responsibility. It doesn't give you enough time to actually consolidate your foothold that you enjoyed back in 2022. So it's we could say that nepotism is here and there, but the elements are easy for Nurul Izzah to maneuver around. Like when she came to Sabah, it's easy for her to gain that kind of support. So maybe I don't know if it's going to take the positive way of like challenging the old guard, or is this going to be a case of, oh well, just if it's a friendly competition, friendly reshuffling of priorities here and there, or will we see PKR really truly having its split factions along very defined lines here? Because we saw that with UMNO, UMNO was very split among very definitive fault lines. People being support for Zahid, some after Bosco exited from UMNO, and then there was a lot of factionalism within UMNO as well. And then UMNO Sabah also having its own situation. Then we have UMNO, the youth wing, having its own priorities as well, which rallied behind people like KJ and Shara Hamdan. So, will PKR descend into that kind of situation? And would Anwar be able to manage that kind of expectation as the party president, right?
Apart from Rafizi Ramli, I don't see anyone else could replace Anwar Ibrahim as the president of PKR. And maybe Nurul Izzah is the close third or second, fourth, that would replace Anwar. But Rafizi Ramli is still the choice of number one person who could steer PKR into, because he's just like Sharil Hamdan says in the podcast Keluar Sekejap, he is just a innovative politician. In this country, Eddie, politicians is not synonymous with being innovative. So when he is being innovative with all this data gathering and the way he campaigns with the lorry truck that he mentioned so much, and this is what we want to see, not just from him, but from more young politicians, aspiring politicians in the future. So as we get excited with someone like Rafizi, this should be serve as an example as well to the other aspiring politicians to well, not to be like Rafizi Ramli, but to somewhat replicate the innovative side of it and then make a case for it. Because I can see PKR is a very strong in the future, because this is a party that wants to give leadership post to very young, like people like Nick Nazmi already in the vice presidency, and few others. Nurul Izzah herself is still very young. Rafizi, they are all below 50 years old. So these are the great excellent example of how PKR members go through the ranks. And another thing want to mention about going through the ranks is that when I mentioned about Rafizi did not expect Nurul Izzah want to challenge him for the post, is I think because certain people that vying for the certain post in the party wants Nurul Izzah because they want to be in behind, so that they could rally the support altogether with in the same name of Nurul Izzah. What I mean is people like Ramanan wants to stir up the pot because he wants to find a way, wiggle his way to the vice president's one of the vice president's posts. He was just in I think he joined PKR in 2020, and then he stand for in 2022. He's very new to the party now. He has a big ambition for this, and I can see that it's not just him. So the people that you can see siding with Nurul Izzah wants this kind of big post in PKR, and Rafizi rightly call them out every night now. So if we can see it, I'm sure the party members that will vote for these two can see it as well. And I can only hope that they vote for the right person. And the rest is going to be, I think, after the election, for this internal party election, it's going to just be business as usual, because they don't have time, Adi. PRN Sabah is coming upon them in matter of months. And of course, general elections, and in between, so many by-elections as well, state elections, before we face 2027 general election.
Yeah, so that kind of relationship with PRN Sabah in the works, right, lurking in the wings, is definitely going to affect how I would perceive this election here. So I think I want to do this, Hafiz. I'm going to tell you who my candidate between Rafizi and Nurul Izzah is. I'll give you a short reason why, and then maybe you can give your reason as well. Your pick and your reason as well. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so obviously this is not a speculative, it's not definitively speculative. I'm just saying who I feel is the best choice. So for me, I'm going to be supporting Nurul Izzah here because she was able to rally the Sabah PKR here, which is crucial when it comes to the upcoming PR. And it's very strategic of her to say that, okay, well, there's a support base still. There's a lot of PKR, even though PKR doesn't have a strong presence here in the parliament or in the Dun here, they still have a significant amount of members here in Sabah. A very, very hardcore group of members here. And to be able to rally the support is very good for us because it shows that there is someone on the Malaya side is able to have the relationship with the Sabah side being able to now represent themselves and articulate. Of course, for me as a Sabahan thinking, I think we have a shot here in terms of having a representative over there that listens to Sabah's concerns and what Sabah's needs here. It's always great to have that kind of relationship because I don't feel Rafizi has cultivated that strong relationship with Sabah and with Sabahan. So my all the best to both, but of course I will be banking on Nurul Izzah to win this party election. You.
All right. Of course, I will be going to say that Rafizi Ramli should win because Rafizi Ramli is, I think, the glue that stick this coalition unity government together. He was the one that was sent by PKR to bring his sword and go to the battlefield and face people like Zaid Hamidi, which is very, very senior compared to him. People like who else in the Amanah side, DAP sides, that was trusted for him. So in this difficult time, during that difficult time, he was entrusted in this very glorious time. He should be at least remembered as the general of the war that goes to the war and bring back victory. And like I said, also this is only midterm. We still have 2 plus years left in the government, and he should be given mandate to at least finish this term as the minister, as deputy president, and it would only right if we judge him again after the election, because it's everything in order here. The timing, the arrangement, it has to be perfect for the next general election. Otherwise, whoever win this weekend will not be a minister post 2027, because once you mess this up, you don't have the time, you don't have the whatever network that you want to make in this very short 2 years to win the general election. So I would go for the status quo, maintain the general, let him win another battle, and then see it again in 6 months after the election. Then that would be a proper way to oppress him.
Yeah, and that would be a great question for us to ask you, the audience, in the comment section. Who do you think whose faction do you wish for supremacy within PKR here? Who is your favorite candidate? And what do you think they can bring to the table, or what they have brought to the table you feel justifies them to remain in that position? We wish them all the best as PKR goes into finishes up their whole party election stuff. And we hope to see them coming in the next general election and PR in Sabah coming up soon as a more fiercer competitor, as a competitor that's able to represent what the people in Malaysia actually want. I'm not saying I'm a PKR fan, but it's always great to have a good party, to have parties that are strong, regardless.
Yeah, we are fan of democracy. So this is democracy at best. Not maybe, yeah, just democracy. All right. So that's it for this episode. Rafizi, Nurul Izzah, PKR battle. And next up, we're going, like Adi mentioned in first episode, now we are focusing on the third topic, which is about Sabah. So stay tuned for that. See you in the next episode.